You know the scene. You've seen it in a million movies, right? The dark room, the coder hunched over a keyboard, and that glowing green text just scrolling down a black screen. It always looks so mysterious, so complex, almost like magic. But what if I told you that black box isn't a box at all? What if it's actually an open door?
Because that's really the whole idea behind the command line. It's not some ancient secret code. It's just a way to have a direct conversation with your computer, to tell it exactly what you want it to do, with no icons, no menus, no windows getting in the way.
So let's get a clear definition. What are we actually talking about here? It's called a command line interface, or CLI for short. And all it is really is a way to control your computer by typing in commands, one line of text at a time. Every single instruction is just that, a line of text. That's it. Now, it's really easy to think of the command line as this kind of retro alternative to the way we do things now with all our clicking and swiping. But here's the thing. It came first. For a very long time, it wasn't an alternative, it was the only way. This all kicked off way back in the mid-1960s with these things called teleprinters, which were basically just typewriters hooked up to a computer. Then in 1971, we got the very first Unix shell, which was a huge leap forward. It wasn't until the 1980s that the graphical user interface, the whole world of windows and icons, really became mainstream. And yet, even today, the CLI is still an absolutely vital tool for technical pros all over the world.
Okay, I get it. Looking at a line of code can feel like you're trying to read an alien language, but I promise you, there's a pattern and it's actually super logical once you see it. So let's break one down, piece by piece. We're going to use this little line of text as our example. I know, it looks like nonsense right now, but it's basically just a very short sentence. And by the time we're done with this section, every single part of this is going to make perfect sense. This is our Rosetta Stone.
First things first, that C:/ part at the beginning, that's not even part of the command you type. That's called the prompt. Think of it as the computer just saying, okay, I'm ready, tell me what to do. It's just a little signal that says, I'm listening.
All right, now for the part you actually type. It has three main ingredients. First, the command itself, RM. That's just short for remove. That's your verb, the action you want to do. Next up is the option, or what some people call a flag, V. This changes how the command works, kind of like an adverb. In this case, V means verbosely, telling the computer to report back what it's doing. And finally, you've got the argument, file.s. That's the noun, the thing you want to remove. So you've got a verb, an adverb, and a noun. Remove, verbosely, this file. See? It's a sentence. So why on earth would anyone choose to type all that out instead of just dragging a file to the trash can? Well, that brings us to the great divide, the command line interface versus the graphical user interface, the CLI versus the GUI. But this isn't really a battle. It's more about two totally different philosophies for two different types of work. Here's an analogy I love. Think of it like a restaurant. A GUI is like being handed a menu. It's easy, it's visual, you point at what you want, and you know exactly what you're going to get. The command line, though, that's like walking straight into the kitchen and talking directly to the chef. Sure, you have to know the language, but you can make these incredibly specific, powerful, custom requests that just aren't on the menu. The GUI is easy to start with, but the CLI is unbelievably efficient, especially for complex or repetitive stuff. And that efficiency, that's what leads us to the single biggest reason the command line is still so dominant in the tech world. It's not just about being fast, it's about a genuine superpower. And that superpower is called automation. I mean, just stop and really think about this for a second. Imagine you have a folder with 1,000 photos from a trip, and you want to add today's date to every single file name. With a mouse, you'd be there all day. Click, rename, over and over again, 1,000 times. It would be an absolute nightmare. But with the command line, this is where the magic happens. You can write a single one-line command to do the job, and you can save that command in a little text file called a script. Then you just run that one script, and in less than a second, poof, all 1,000 files are perfectly renamed. That is the power of automation. So yeah, it's pretty clear this isn't just a tool for nostalgia. The command line is not a relic. It is a critical modern tool that very specific groups rely on for some very, very important reasons. So who are we talking about? Well, programmers and system admins use it every day to manage huge, complex systems. Scientists and engineers need its raw power to crunch massive amounts of data. And here's something you might not realize. It's a vital tool for people with visual disabilities because a text-based output can be easily read aloud or by a braille display, offering a level of accessibility that a graphical interface sometimes just can't match. And we have to remember, for almost 30 years, this was computing. It wasn't some niche thing. It was how everyone talked to their machines. It's a foundational piece of our digital history, and its DNA is baked right into every modern operating system we use today, just quietly waiting. So the next time you see that blinking cursor in that black window, don't see it as some intimidating relic from the past. See it for what it really is: a direct line to the heart of your machine, a tool of incredible power and efficiency. It's not old, it's timeless, and who knows, it just might be your next superpower.